Borislav. How do you say it?
I'm Borislav.
Borislav.
Yeah. But Bobby, yeah.
No, we're being infiltrated, guys. In Bulgaria, is it not close to Russia?
The KGB.
The KGB.
Who sent you? Who sent you, Bobby? Tell us.
I can't say. It's still
Jeez, have you been sent as a KGB agent to come and
infiltrate?
How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well. How are you? I'm super excited.
I'm excited. From the first time we met, and I'd like to welcome you officially. Bobby Petkov.
Thank you, sir.
Borislav Petkov.
Yes, sir.
Jeez. Welcome to the Penuel show officially.
Thank you.
It had to happen, and I'm glad it's happening soon. From the first time I drove into Mid-Mac town, and then I walked into the dealership, the people that you work with, Vince, Carmen, the entire team, I don't know what you're threatening the guys with there, but the humility, the respect, the professionalism, I don't take things like that for granted. So thank you so much for welcoming me into your empire and into your life. It means a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. So yeah, the team is absolutely incredible. I'm the luckiest person on earth. So blessed.
You're the luckiest
person who ever lived. Yes, sir.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you tasted your coffee?
It's beautiful. I can't.
You happy?
I think I'm gonna get a refill. Hopefully.
This guy. There's no admin. We need to sort out my book. Did you bring it? I hope you didn't.
Of course I brought it. Of course I brought your book.
So I forgot to. I said I would buy you 1984 by George Orwell. You've probably already bought it.
No.
I don't trust you.
No. You can trust me.
Absolutely. I haven't bought it, so I have to apologize.
No problem.
I brought you a replacement book, but I'm still going to buy you 1984.
Okay.
So when we get a chance, please remind me. You can get yours, I'll get mine. We'll do an exchange.
I'm going to leave mine here, so then it opens the door for a second invite, hopefully, if this goes well.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bobby, just a bit of a summary for people that don't know and that maybe haven't even been to your channel. Who's Bobby? Where are you from? How do you get to South Africa as a Bulgarian gent?
So 38 years young. My parents immigrated from Bulgaria. I was 8.5 years old when we first touched down, and I can remember it like yesterday. You know, my friends, my homies, they said, you know, when you get there, just send us the photos of the lions and the elephants, and just be careful in the streets. So I was very excited, and I got to this concrete jungle, and I've always said it. Born in Bulgaria, made in South Africa. This is my home. I love this country wholeheartedly. I love the fact that I can call myself a South African.
I'm going to take liberties, which I generally don't do. What I try to do is I try to give context, but I want people to go and watch the conversation I had with you. I'm going to take liberties because I'm going to speak as if it's a continuation of that conversation, because you told me a lot of things about home, about your upbringing, which I'd like us to rehash on, without making it seem like it's the first time we're meeting.
Okay.
You come from a poor village.
Yes.
In Bulgaria.
Yes.
A lot of black South Africans obviously believe Europe is the land of milk and honey, but otherwise.
So the only difference between a South African village, let's say in the Northern Cape, and a Bulgarian village is the temperature.
Yeah.
So the minus 20 degrees, that's the only difference.
We'd never be able to survive that.
It was the best, man. I love the fact that I got to experience simple life, growing up, because that, as much as it drives me, towards being hyper aggressive in business, it still reminds me that it doesn't matter. Yeah. Money is not important.
Money is not important.
It's not important in the bigger context of my life. It's not, sir.
It's only people that have lots of money that say that.
Not at all, sir. Not at all. I'll tell you why. If you spend time with my team, if you spend time with Vince and with Carmen, financially we do very well. Yeah. Do very, very well, but we do well for our families. So that we've got a nice and secure home and everything's taken care of. But it's not the driver. The driver is competing, and the driver is just to do something that hasn't been done before.
But why are you like this? Why are you? I was joking to Debza, because Debza and I are big on the stoicism, being a real man. Why are you driven by some of those principles that the world seems to currently be fighting?
So simply put, you know, I love the Stoic mentality, and coming to a country where you don't understand the culture and you don't understand the language. So the language barrier is quick. 8 years old, 9, 10, 12 months later, you know, English, as broken as it is, I'm not going to be hungry. I can order bread, or I can get, you know, a water. The culture is the context. So coming from Europe, I don't understand a black and white problem at all. I don't understand a division. So, you know, seeing you for the first time, I'm interested. Like, tell me about your village. What village? I grew up down the road. Tell me about your village. Then I'm telling you about my village. Now we're exchanging stories. Then you know, I get to experience a lot of bullying at a stage because I'm different and I'm hanging out with everybody. And at a point in my working career, something just clicks where I've got this fire in me, and it's not to compete and beat you because I'm a bigger man, I'm a better man. It's not that. It's I want to compete against you because I've overcome more. So I can bear more pain than you. Meaning, you know, we had a conversation with the guy across the street from us. Very successful company, 38 years old company. And, you know, I asked him, so what time do you come to work? I come to work at 9. I said, okay, great. What time do you go home? I go home at 4. I said, that's how I beat you. I just turned the 2 around. So if I come to work at 4 and work until 9, it doesn't matter how much better you are than me. I'm younger than you. I will outlive you. That's my mentality. You know, I will outlive you, and eventually I catch up to you and I pass you, because I come from a background where I don't have uncles and aunties and connections, and I can find that it's me. Me, it's my family. And obviously through that, attract like-minded people who also come from a little bit of an adverse background.
Yeah.
And, you know, then we just go to war together, man.
You know, when you spoke about this business across the road, I assumed it was like rich dad, poor dad. It's just a metaphoric. It's not a real business.
It's a real business.
You talk about a real business
100%.
that you're like, look, I steamroll these guys out the water.
100%.
You're not talking about figurative, business across the road.
It needs to be practical. It needs to be practical, because the only time, this is why I like business and sales and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
The only time you can, you know, measure success is by achievement.
Yeah.
And you can never, ever, ever look down on somebody and compete down, because then you're a bully.
Sure.
You have to look up. So you know, as a team, it's all war. This is the strategy. These are the steps we're going to take. This is how we're going to be different. These are the hours that we're going to work. And this is the desired result. So when you fail, it's on you. But when you win, you know, it's on the team, because, you know, everybody put in their part, and you've competed against the big badass across the street. And whether you win or lose, it's all good. And losing is for me a lot better than winning, because that's when you really start to figure out, okay, these are the areas we need to improve on. And then eventually you compete up, you beat the guy, and you just get a bigger guy. There's always a bigger guy.
And that's what you're going for?
Absolutely, nonstop.
Are you trying to become the biggest car dealership in the world?
No, not at all.
What are you trying to be?
So, as of late, I'm just trying to be a person that creates happiness within the close circle. And happiness for me is a multitude of things. Happiness is, you know, some sort of work-life balance. So when we
you believe in work-life balance?
Yes. So here's what work-life balance for me means. When I'm at work, and I'm balanced. I push the crazy hours. I push the, you know, the things breaking, falling apart. Recently I had managers leave, you know, stealing staff, stealing secrets, stealing strategies. When I go home, I'm a married man.
Mm.
That's my work-life balance.
You're not a businessman.
I'm a married businessman. So it means
Okay.
if I get home at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, when I interact with my wife, that's my balance. My phone is there and we have a conversation. Then I'm at home.
Yeah.
And when I'm playing soccer with my friends, I'm playing soccer with my friends.
Yeah.
When I'm working, I'm working. That's my balance. It's not about coming in at 8 or 7 or whatever time you come in, going home at 6 and, having that for me, that's very imbalanced. That's where divorce and all these other things
Sure.
happen. So work-life balance is being present. That's my work-life balance.
I don't know, man. So I listened to Ivan Klassenberg of Glencore, and he was being interviewed. I don't know if it was the Wall Street Journal. And he was saying at Glencore, we work. It's like a lot of people speak about how much money we make at Glencore. This was when he was still head of Glencore. He's left now, but he's obviously kept his shares and his wealth. He was like, if you're comfortable to travel around the world 6 days a week, if you're comfortable to work 16 hours a day, you come to Glencore. When we sign a deal, we don't pop champagne. We don't celebrate because we work. We have to make returns for the investors.
Yeah.
And he was saying, if you slip in this company, there's always someone underneath you willing to take you out. I sat at Investec many years ago now. They were having business leaders speaking. And Ivan Epstein at the time, I think he was running Sage. I don't know if it was still called Pastel. Sage, they do payroll and these things.
We actually use some of their software.
Software.
Yeah.
So he was asked, because they all got asked this question. I think the first guy was asked was Shamil Chusab from Vodacom. Gave a nice, what is work-life balance to you? Oh, it's spending time with work and then making sure when I'm at home. Someone quoted Adrian Gore as a Jewish man to say, look, Jewish people, I think on Saturday, no phone, no work, don't call me. It's their holy day, etc. And then they went to Ivan Epstein, and Ivan Epstein was like, there's no such thing as work-life balance. Don't let anyone bullshit you and tell you rubbish. He's like, I love the work that I do. I'm obsessed with the work that I do. If my kids want to see me, they know where to find me, at work. If they want to update me and give me their reports, they come to work. And then after him was Stephen Kosef of Investec, and I think under pressure from Ivan, he was like, look, I think Ivan is right, because at some point, late at night, I'm sleeping and my phone goes off, and it's one of my co-founders at Investec, and they calling.
Yeah.
Come to the bank now. And his wife took the phone and she's like, is the bank burning? No, it's not. Did someone die? No. Then he'll see you in the morning. And he was like, well, my wife kind of forced me to have a balance. Otherwise, I would have also been at work 24 hours a day. You do believe in work-life balance?
So,
I mean, you're speaking 4 to 9. So the average person works 9 to 4. Elon Musk says to catch up, you must outwork, outlast, outmaneuver. You're saying flip. I'll work 4 to 9. Where does the family friend time come?
So I enjoy the process. Very early in my career, I got hold of, it was a blessing. I got hold of some content that Gary Vaynerchuk made.
Oh, but Gary V.
Very early in my career, like early. And it clicked. And he said, if you enjoy the process of business, not the result.
Yes.
The process.
Yes.
You love what you do for as long as you do it. So I enjoy when things break. It's like, okay, I've overcome X, Y, Z in my mind. A manager leaving, taking 2 of our best salespeople, deploying my strategy that's brand new, against us from the competitor's side is just a challenge that I have to overcome. And if we are good enough, we will. If we're not, we're going to fail, but we're going to start again and come back stronger. So I enjoy the process of business. I enjoy the losses. You said, something that stuck with me when you visited us, you said, don't be addicted to pain. I'm a little bit addicted to pain. It drives me because every time there's a loss, it's heart sore, but I'm like, that's the fuel. That's what... Exactly. We're currently processing a big loss. And it's sore and it's lonely. And there's only maybe 1 or 2 people that I can speak to about it as things are developing and happening. But that fuel, I know, is going to fill up my tank. Man, I'm excited. When whatever it is that we're going through right now is over, It's just gonna, that 9 to 4 will change for me probably 3 to 12. I've just gotta hit it for a long time. So I enjoy the process. I love the fact that creativity and science together, using data, will solve every problem in our company that we've ever faced and we will face. And it's on us to figure out the Rubik's Cube of whatever we're going through.
Creativity and science
100%.
with data
Yes.
can solve
100%.
your problems. You believe it can solve all problems?
100%. 100%. I believe it wholeheartedly. There's cars that go 400 plus kilometers an hour, and we've all been on planes.
Yeah.
And you've been an amazing young man to take your mom on an airplane for the first time and have that experience. That's just creativity, science, and data, enabling us to be able to experience me and you talking, through these mics. Hopefully, some people get value on the other side of this. It's just creativity, science, and data.
Do you think we're doing enough to collaborate as human beings? It seems like
no.
We at some point, I don't know if there was even a point where like the most talented people, maybe Silicon Valley is an example, a space that attracts the greatest minds, creative scientists, people that are data-driven, data analysts, problem solvers, technicians. In South Africa, we don't have a place like, I know this Silicon Cape, Justin Stanford, Vinnie Lingham, Vusi Tembekwayo, I don't know if he's still co-chair. I've never heard anything about them doing anything. Like we've created a new energy, we've created our own electric vehicle. Do you think we have platforms like that here?
I don't think so. And it's sad. And how I think we start a movement is by calling each other out.
Okay.
I really believe that. So if for example, we want to get podcasting, bigger and give it the actual eyeballs that it deserves, we need to call each other out. So we need to say, okay, I've brought this value. What can you bring to the table? And then, try and level up with each and every episode. It's going to be tough competing against you because you're going to run so far ahead of us, which you already are, but it makes us level up.
This is how you beat people, right? You compliment them so they get weak. I see you. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Why you keep giving me compliments? It's because you're trying to expose me.
You are highly special, sir.
Please don't compliment me. Carry on.
And you should be protected.
I struggle with compliments. I'm like you.
You should be protected.
I want someone to tell me that I'm dog shit. My podcast sucks. I'm going to stop interrupting Bobby every time he speaks so I can be like, fuck you, I'm going to be better.
So calling each other out in all spaces, in automotive, a big bank CEO says, Bobs, I like the fact that you called out this dealer, on a public platform. Why do you like it? Because his sales went up. Yours went up, his went up. Because when I called him out, I have to deliver.
Sure.
I have to deliver. I have to do what I said I'm going to do. Boom, both of us rise up and we're friends.
What happens in the absence of competition for you? Do you go out searching for it? And my other thing is there are people that are still being fueled by adversity from a young age. Maybe 50 Cent as an example. I think he lost his parents.
Yes.
He was in drugs. I think he might have been in gangs. They still tell the same story, but maybe that was 15 years as an example.
Yes.
The guy might be 45. So he's had 30 years of good life.
Yes.
Making money, being a star, being a celebrity, sitting with the richest people. Yes, he borrows from that. But are we supposed to be manufacturing pain? Is that the reason why rich people climb mountains and maybe go back to Bulgaria and want to walk in the snow naked?
Yes. So here's what I do. 15 minutes before, we walked into the studio, I phoned one of the managers and listen, you had a great month. He overachieved on his target by 10%. You are phenomenal at what you do. I'm very proud of you. Can we process your weaknesses? What do you mean? Your weaknesses. Here's areas that I've identified where you can improve right now. Go through the stuff, go through the data. Do you see this? Yes, I do. Do you see this? Before I say goodbye, here's why I know you can improve. Because this other manager right here, okay, your neighbor, is killing you in this area. So unless you improve, he's going to take your silver star that you've got on your forehead and put it on his forehead. What do you mean? So have a look at his data. I send him his data. Do you see this? Yes, I do. Great. Have a nice day. I phone his neighbor.
Get out of here.
I phone his neighbor. I phone the other manager. I said, listen, buddy, you know, this guy, you've got 10 years on him. I don't think he's more talented. I think he's hungrier than you. He killed you last month because he's hungrier than you. Okay? You've got the experience. You've got the knowledge. You've got the finesse. You've got the team. You've got everything. I think your belly is full. What do you mean my belly is full? Your belly is full because he kicked your ass.
You're an instigator is what you are.
So creating that competition amongst the team is deadly effective.
Is it healthy?
Absolutely healthy. But only if the personality types can handle it.
100%.
If they can't, it's a different love language.
This is why you're a KGB spy.
Yes,
because
sir.
you understand psychology. I'm figuring you out. Please put away the bug. So one of the things, I get dragged by a big chunk of the black community a lot because I like referencing the Afrikaner community in this country. I think they have a similar trait in they feel like the lost kids of Europe that came here as these mongrels and came together and had interbreeding, the French, the Dutch, the Germans, to create this Afrikaner nation. What I've learned having played rugby my whole life is what makes some of our rugby at the highest level so good and so strong is these young Afrikaans boys at school level, at tertiary level, they tackle the moer out of each other.
Yes.
You'd swear they hate each other. When these rival schools, it could be Affies in Pretoria,
yes,
versus Waterkloof. When they tackle each other, bro, you're like, I don't understand. But what happens is, because it's so highly competitive, even residences at the universities, what comes out of there becomes these steel forged. By the time they have to compete with other nations, it's like they children. So you believe in aggressive, well, the health aspect is debatable. You believe in aggressive competition with the aim of, I want to get the best out of myself and out of us.
100%. And especially amongst each other. So there's a certain brotherhood in our culture. If you're an outsider and you're standing, I invite you to come and do a training session with us every morning, 7 to 8. But we do.
Is this an invite?
Plays. Absolutely.
No, I'll definitely come through.
So 7 to 8, we do role plays. So we do a bit of training, but the role plays basically, you know, I think I've watched Wolf of Wall Street maybe 3 or 4 too many times. So there's side bets, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's very noisy, but you are selling, I'm buying, okay? The winner gets a prize. So if I make it almost impossible for you to sell me and you know, gun you publicly in front of 60, 70 people aggressively all the time, by the time you face a customer and you have to handle an objection, it's like, oh, you need to speak to your wife. No problem, sir. You know, tell me, what do you think your wife will say no to? Will she say no to the money, or will she say no to the product? Because as men, we use our wives to save face.
Of course.
And it's normally always the money. So you need to speak to her. Yeah, my wife, you know, she'll say no to the money. At what amount will your wife say, yes, it's not going to be at this amount. There's the problem. Boom.
Boom.
Sort out the payment, get the customer the car ready. But if we do it in a vicious way amongst each other, you're free to roam the jungle. You're a lion. You won't be hungry. That's the way I see it.
I've sat with young entrepreneurs, because I think it's mostly the young guys who are still optimistic. They build decent businesses, turning over 5 million, 10 million, 50 million a year. And then they have these really great ideas, which you have, of empowerment and training. I want to upskill. I want to take some of my staff and help them start their own businesses. And I tell them, look, I used to be like you. I used to believe in empowerment, and it would be so great if this guy goes and flourishes. But the concept of building your own competition, and you don't know the other guy's character. He may not be as altruistic as you. He's going to open a business and he's going to completely steamroll you. Ray Kroc, if I see my competitor drowning, I'll shove a hose pipe down his mouth. I'm trying to figure out from you how you feel about empowerment versus ensuring that your people have to be loyal to you. And you're like, if you leave, please know that you're betraying me.
So I don't see it that way at all. Completely different opinion. So at the point when the person leaves me to now steamroll me,
Yeah.
he's leaving, 38-year-old, 6-month, 4-day, and 5-hour Bobby. Okay.
Is that your age?
So whatever, just somewhere around
Oh,
there.
I thought you like really crazy and
No.
psycho.
But
Sure.
by the time we, have to face each other a couple of months later, I'm reading books. I'm constantly improving myself, constantly. I've got AirPods that they should just figure out how do I charge them, because there is someone is in my ear all the time. So by the time we face off, you're not going to face the same Bobby. I'm going to be faster, stronger, leaner, less body fat with more conviction. And I'm going to eat you. And if I present that attitude towards my team the whole time, they want to stick around. Look, it gets toxic to the point where some people can't handle that all the freaking time. But those that do, we're going to take over the world together.
You've lost weight, bro. Congrats.
Thank you.
How much weight have you lost and why?
29 kgs.
That's a lot. 30 kgs is insane.
Yeah, it's a lot. And
over what period?
7 months. 7
Are
months.
you serious?
7 months. 105 grams of rice, 270 grams of mixed veg, frozen mixed veg, and 120 grams of protein for 7 months, 3 times a day. And I gymmed like it was my job every morning. A guy that helped me is the owner of Kaizen Wellness, Jock, good friend of mine. Yeah, phenomenal. He changed my life. And I'll answer why. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that fire, that let's go kill everybody, was like I couldn't hear it anymore. And I was tired, lethargic, overweight. I didn't like what I saw. And I approached him. I said, I don't want a six-pack. I don't want these big arms. I want energy. What do you mean? I want energy. I want to be, my stamina needs to go up. And boom, that's what it did for me. So that's why I lost the weight.
Thank you so much. You spoke about your managers and highlighting their weaknesses so they can improve. Our boy Gary Vaynerchuk speaks about focusing fully on what you're brilliant at and then fuck everything else, outsource it.
Yeah.
You don't agree with that. You believe in working on your weaknesses.
So let me put it this way. We spoke of spreadsheets.
Your favorite subject in the whole world, the thing you love so much.
Like, I've got the best salespeople under the sun.
Yeah.
Can't file, 2 papers on top of each other because, it's a left brain, right brain. However, if I can't substitute that task. So for a salesperson, it's very easy. You hit 15 cars with me, you get an assistant. Okay, the assistant takes care of 10 things that you don't like doing. I don't need
15 cars a month.
A month, yes. Sold, yes.
Then you get an assistant.
So the assistant will do follow-up calls. They'll do all the applications, the documents, and the running around between finance and insurance manager, making sure that everything is up to date and the customers are notified via WhatsApp and email and all this other stuff. Okay. At 22, you start running out of capacity in terms of preparing a vehicle. It needs to go to certain checks and things needs to be happening. At 22, you get a driver. Okay. And then at 29, between 25 and 29, you need your own F&I. So that's how I enable
F&I.
Yeah, finance and insurance manager.
Okay.
So between 25 and 29 cars a month means you're probably handing in between 6 and 7 applications a day. A general F&I that serves 5 or 6 salespeople is going to let you down because, to have such a high level of urgency, you're aggressive the whole time. So you're pushing, how far is this answer? How far is this rate drop? How far is this installment negotiation? So at 25 to 29, you get your own finance and insurance manager. I can enable a salesperson that way.
Okay.
There's certain weaknesses that you have to work on. So, for example, me, the spreadsheets, the spreadsheet.
Your favorite?
So I can have I can have a finance and insurance manager, a CFO, I've got a COO, head of marketing, Vince. I still need to know how to properly read bank statements and how to properly set up a budget. And, that I can't outsource, because the moment I do, I lose control of the business. So certain weaknesses.
Please say that again, sorry, because I think that's important. You're saying as an owner of a business, it doesn't matter if you're dyslexic, you need to learn how to read your bank statements.
You need to learn how to read your bank statements.
Yeah.
And you need to understand how to budget.
Okay. Otherwise, you lose control of your business.
You lose control of the business. So, and I'm speaking from experience, because I've lost control many times. For me and Mitmac, it's always, I run ahead of Mitmac, pull it up, and then sometimes the force is quite high.
Yeah.
And then Mitmac runs away from me.
Okay.
For the longest time, like I've been chasing the company, on occasions 6, 9, 10, 12 months, where I'm playing catch up because the company overtook me. We exploded from, so I'll tell you this. We are probably about 87 employees, 87, 88 employees. And, sales are booming. I need to hire, and I get depressed. I've got this fear in me. It's painful to wake up, because I can't process, how am I responsible for 100 people? So the number 100 is significant. And, we're about to hit 100 employees, and I'm stuck. Eventually, I process this with someone. I go and seek help. I said, listen, I'm freaking out. I can't be responsible for 100 families. It's not fair. What if I make a mistake? What if I step in a landmine and I cock this up? What happens to those people? And this person back and forth with me 3-4 sessions says, what if you get it right? What if we can, get the 100 to 200 people? And we did. And we got it above 200 as well. But, going back to my original story, you have to know where you're weak, work on your weakness.
Yeah.
Things like procurement for panel beaters and all this other stuff. Outsource that.
Sure.
Because
there are certain weaknesses you have to work on, regardless.
Have to. When it comes to money, and when it comes to my, let's say, top 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
I have to be there for them in the areas that they need me to be.
You and I spoke about imposter syndrome. It's an interesting concept you're raising about your business running ahead of you, or you running ahead of your business, because people always assume when a business is growing, the owner is right there.
No.
Facebook was seemingly outrunning Mark Zuckerberg. And I remember him being asked, why don't you get a CEO? And his answer was, I don't think I'll have another great idea like this in my life, which was fair, because you listen to him when he speaks, he's not trained, he sucks. He sounds like he's unwell and he's lying and he's, But he was like, look, I'll stay, as much as he's not a nice PR. Oh, look, at Facebook we do this. And you're like, oh, this guy speaks so smooth. But imposter syndrome. Shonda Rhimes, who's one of the greatest, I think, producers, writers in Hollywood, Black American lady. She says on imposter syndrome, which a friend of mine sent to me, because I was telling him I struggle with this thing. When you get into rooms and you feel like I shouldn't be there, the question is, who should? Because if you're not meant to be there, who should be there? It's meant to be you.
Yeah.
What the person was telling you, like, you built this thing, you have to hire these 100 people, because if not you responsible for 100 families, then who? You are the one, and you must own it. And even if it means you have to pretend for a while, you'll get used to it, because you're basically saying only other people should be allowed to have big businesses. Only other people are allowed success. I'm not.
Yeah.
I should remain small and little and never. And she's like, own it. A lot of us struggle with it, but it's like the fact that you're in the room, regardless of how you got there, means you're meant to be there. Yeah. And you need to almost own the room. And I think that's quite powerful for me.
So on that point, here's what I started saying to myself. So, positive messages and the way you speak to the warrior inside is absolutely true. So the way you speak to yourself is the most important conversation that you can have. But you have to define why. So I walk in and I say, okay, there's 63 people in this room, 63 young men and women. Okay, here's why I should be in this room in front teaching them. The reason is I came from adversity. I overcame not speaking English. I overcame being a horrible salesperson in the motor industry. These are the 10 books I read. Okay, then I became decent. These are the 5 things that I had to adjust. Then I became good. These are the 2 business courses that I attended. Then I became great. And this is why I'm the best salesperson in the country, because of this achievement. Therefore, I should be in the room in front, sharing my story, and hopefully, picking them up out of that mindset of we can't do it because of XYZ. You can. You just need to justify to yourself why you deserve it. And that, constantly repeating that in my mind, gets me through the toughest times.
Jeez, that's brilliant. We speak about you training your staff and the competitiveness, mild toxicity. I'm going to ask you an unfair question.
Go for it.
Your views around working with women, hiring women, especially in an aggressive sales space.
So I like working with women.
Of course, we all like working with women.
Women will outwork men, okay, if you get the right mentality. So hiring process is very important for me. For example, I'll give you an example where I got it right and where I got it wrong. Single mom, bring me single moms. We'll take over the world together, because the why is there. And if I understand the love language, I don't need to speak to you for half an hour a day. Tell me about your kid, doing well. Okay, cool. Tell me about the school that you want us to send your kid to, because we're a team. The school, what does it cost? It costs this much. How far are we? This is the distance. Okay, reverse engineer that financial amount. Connect it to the kid, connect it to the why. You can bring 10 guys and she'll eat them. So I've been successful in that area. Okay, next one. Very, very high level education, has the degree, has the right university, has the right friendship circle, has the right connection. Myself as a business person, haven't been successful there. Because the language that I speak, my culture, my competitiveness, let's go, let's improve, let's grow. Hopefully I develop myself in the future to be able to not only attract, but be able to work with people like that. That's on me, it's not on them. But the unfair question to you, it's a fair question. My direct answer is I can work with women. I just need that thing in their life that they will die for, because I will go and make sure that whatever it is, the dream is for that thing to happen, I'm going to add fuel to that and I'm going to help them out.
Do you look down on on ordinary people that are comfortable? Do you prefer working with like misfits and broken people that come from struggle and pain, and you're the type of animal I want to turn into a machine?
So misfit and struggle always wants to create good time.
Yeah.
So I gravitate to that because I'm a misfit and I've struggled, but I want to create a good, comfortable life for my kids. So I can agree with you. Yeah, I love that.
You struggle with ordinary people. You look down on them.
I don't look down on them.
Well, in a way, but it's kind of like, your life is good. I don't really know what I'll do with you.
I'll say this. I don't speak their love language.
You like the language of hunger and pain. And
oh, man.
What do you think of I guess I'll call it masculine women, because what happens with single mothers, they are forced to become aggressive men because of circumstance, and which is what helps them to drive the fire.
Yeah.
I used to get to know Forex traders when Forex trading was big in the country, and a lot of them would employ a lot of very feminine women, but it was mostly to woo the guys.
So they're
come
the
and bring
finders.
the money.
They're the finders, yes.
Yeah, they feminine, they pretty, they giggle, oh my gosh, Bobby, your arms, do you lift weights? to bring them into I'd love this car. If I was your girlfriend, that you prefer the fire woman, or do you also work with like a more feminine I think there's a book called Woo, I'm not sure, but use the art of seduction. I think there's a book on the art of seduction to try and sell, because you're selling cars, a car is a piece of machine, A to B.
Yes.
Why are you not buying a Toyota Taz, my favorite car, and you're buying a G63? Now it's something else. Now it's not just A to B. Now it's speed, comfort, safety, your brand. You look like you should be in a G63, because when you walk out, people must be like, oh, this makes sense. But you need someone to sell that story. And sometimes it's the woman saying, oof, if I saw you in this car, boy, I'd actually, if you buy it today, I think I might go home with you. Because I'm really...
So no. I believe there's three clear, let me use the right word. There's three clear roles within a business. So a finder, in our environment, a finder is call center, mostly women. Hi, sir. Thank you very much for inquiring about the beautiful vehicle that you did. Tell me, would you like to do fine? So that's the playful. I'm finding out. I'm gathering information. Is this actually the right car? Because if you've got a family with 4 kids, and you buying a TT, a Toyota Taz, then perhaps the size is not going to be. How about a Rush? Can we put you in a Rush because it's a 7-seater? Will that maybe suit you? Have you ever? So that's a finder. A closer's mentality is different. So our finders, our closers, and then we've got a few builders in our business, which we'll get to now. Normally are not homies. They don't interact well. They don't play well with it. The closer is, I got this lead. Michelle told us that you've got 4 kids. You sometimes go off road. So the ground clearance is perfect. You now and then put your mother-in-law in the boot, so the boot is big enough. She's going to be comfortable. You're towing something. So based on everything,
you now and then put your mother-in-law in the boot. Sorry.
Based on everything that you've told me, this is a perfect car for you, and I'm going to close you now. And it's an aggressive approach. Because aggressive selling is the only way to sell.
It's the only way to sell.
It's the only way to sell. But aggressive selling is not a pit bull salesperson. Yeah, buy from me, and this overwhelming feeling. That's not aggressive. That's a bully.
Yeah.
I will never do business with. Aggressive selling is, if I find out your core needs, and what this vehicle should and should not do for you and your family, then it's my duty to make sure that I sell you this vehicle. That's aggressive selling, because I need to forcefully serve you because I know best. A story that I heard online is you're walking, across the street with your kid, and your kid looks left but doesn't look right, and here comes a car, and you pull the kid back. It's aggressive, but it's for his own good.
Yeah.
When you contact our company, we are the experts. So if your consumption is important to you and your family, a G63 is not going to be the car we're going to offer you. We're going to offer you something that serves that need. Then I'm going to be aggressive. So finder, make sure that it's playful. Tell me about and narrow it down. Okay. The closer, make sure 3 or 4, 5 qualifying questions. What is it about your current car that you like? What is it about your current car that you don't like? So to make sure that the new vehicle is a perfect fit between the two. And why is that important to you? And if the why matches the vehicle, aggressive closing, because then I can serve you.
A proper salesperson is about solving your problem, even when you're hesitant. It's like, you will buy this because you need it. You've told us
people,
you need it.
People don't know what car they're going to buy when they step into our dealership. 90% of people. I'm looking for an SUV. Great. What does this SUV need to do for you and your family? And through fact-finding questions, we're going to test drive 1 or 2. And then we're going to choose the best car for you and your family and aggressively sell you on it.
I was still asking, well, no, I wasn't. You answered my question. This is a personal question. Not just for you, but I guess for men to think about. You've got a situation in South Africa where, in my experience, the Muslim community, a lot of the women are stay-at-home moms.
Yes.
And it works. There's a balance,
Yes.
a work-life balance. The men go out, they work. The women stay at home, take care of the house and take care of the children. Do you, this is a personal question, it's not a business question. Do you personally support the idea of women working in aggressive masculine spaces, or would you prefer if women were actually at home and the hunting and the warrior stuff was left to the men?
So here's the problem, right? Men, and I'm not going to even say South African men are afraid to have a conversation with their spouse. They're afraid. So what do I mean by that? My wife is a career-driven woman. She's in a very competitive environment, does very well. 17 years at one company, promoted multiple times, got paid incentives not to leave, very competitive.
Beautiful.
The conversation, though, is, babe, what is your end goal, with us, with our marriage? This is the end goal. This is when we'll buy a house. This is when we'll have children. This is what happens after we have children. This is what happens when the child is this years old. This is what happens when the child is that years old. So I agree with everything except this one. I don't agree with this. This is what I want. And then we come to a compromise. Men don't have that conversation. They only have the conversation once, we've got a child, the wife doesn't want to leave her job.
Yes.
The man says, but you need to raise this kid now.
Yeah.
So I don't need to do anything. You should have had that conversation before you got married.
Yes.
So my answer to that is, I support, hand on heart, a woman staying at home looking after the kids. My mom did that. My dad provided her the opportunity to do that.
Sure.
And I fully support a career woman, which is my wife.
Yeah.
But I'm on the same page with her. Where we fail as men, and I'm not going to put this on the women, where we fail as men is we don't sit across the table, leave Facebook and Instagram for 4 seconds and say, where's our relationship going?
Yeah.
And what happens when we have children? I want you to be a stay-at-home mom because I want you to put the values and principles of this marriage into our kids, not a nanny or a school where, there's 30 screaming kids and an angry teacher. I want that for our kids before the kids come. Sure. So, that's the best version of an answer I can give you.
You sound politically correct. I'm going to ask a question and I'm hoping the answer is not politically correct.
Okay.
I'd like to hear your honest opinion on the majority of South Africans. And this is Black South Africans who happen to be poor.
Okay.
Who are in this country, who come from a history of struggle, who come from villages. Some of them you were herding sheep. Some of us would herd goats and cows. They come from adversity and struggle, and you look at them today with the grants and the free schooling and free healthcare, and they don't have the fire. And it's the reason why they're getting steamrolled by immigrants like yourself, but obviously we normally speak about the Pakistanis, Bangladeshi, Ethiopians, Somalians, Malawians, Mozambicans. I'd like to hear your honest opinion on what you think on the masses of poor Black South Africans, and if you maybe have a solution for them.
So let me answer you this way. Who you spend the most time with is who you are. The masses of South Africans are, I'm not going to be politically correct with my answer, are too lazy to go and spend 3 or 4 hours learning a skill, a single skill. You've got a fantastic crew off camera here. They are so good at what they do.
Please stop saying that. They're going to get a big head.
Because
they actually need to step up. They've got a lot of weaknesses, which we need to address after this.
They are fantastic at what they do. But they went out and they competed against people that came from better backgrounds than they did. Because we had an off-camera conversation. Yeah. They've competed against people that went to universities and the right schools. But they went out and they studied the skill. And, I've never seen a camera this size. I think this thing costs as much as my house. The one to my left, the gentleman moving it up and down.
That's
There's so many.
Khomotso.
Yes. Khomotso's operating a tool here with 700 buttons. Okay. Khomotso, can we bring him into this conversation?
You know, people are going to be like, so these are the guys that captured you. It's Mitmac that probably pays for the Penuel show.
So
We actually figured it out. It's the Bulgarian Borislav Petkov. He's working with the KGB.
So let me answer your question this way. Khomotso, where did you grow up, my brother?
In the Val Triangle,
Sebokeng. Sebokeng. Okay. Privileged upbringing. You had everything done for you, silver spoon and all this other stuff.
I was raised by teachers, so it wasn't silver spoon, but I wasn't absolutely broke. I never went an evening without food, you know?
Okay.
Single mom.
So there was
But
food.
there's things I want.
Single mom.
Yeah, single mom.
Single mom. Where was dad?
Hmm?
Where was dad?
Funny enough, in Sebokeng somewhere.
Somewhere in Sebokeng. Okay, good. Okay, good. I can work with him because now we have to prove mom right and we have to prove dad wrong. Okay. So we're gonna prove dad wrong. I mean he's already proving him wrong.
Yeah.
And he's already proving mom right.
Yeah.
But tell me at what age did you feel I have to get out of this place because there's something bigger for me? And what steps did you take what steps of action did you take to get out there?
Well, I noticed when I was applying for jobs or trying to get some sort of employment around matric, I failed in the Val, funny enough, just working at a retail. Like I tried to apply at a retail like Truworths in matric, and they didn't accept my application. Cool, carried on with matric. The moment I finished matric, came to Joburg to study, right? I did that for a couple of months and then it was a thing of money, right? So at that time, I then started applying for actual jobs, you know? Started at a call center, did that for a little bit of time and then moved up in the call center world until I decided I want to get out of that world and come into film and TV and stuff, you know? This whole thing probably lasted about, 10 years or so. But ideally, I moved out of the Val because every time I would apply for jobs, they would have, the response would be from Joburg. And then at some point I was like, okay, maybe I need to actually move to Joburg, you know?
Debs, can you pick up the sound?
Yeah, I will put it on that camera side.
Thank you.
There's your answer. There's your answer. Majority of South Africans, majority of the planet is lazy. They're very comfortable. And it's okay because the language that I'm hearing around me, it's bad. You know, the government promises this, that, and the third thing. And look at interest rates. And, you know, that is allowed inside this warrior. Never, ever take the leap. Come to Joburg and do, studied for a couple of months.
Yeah.
It didn't work out because of finances. It is what it is. We worked at a call center.
Didn't go back home, stayed and kept fighting.
Go back home to what? What could you go back home to?
To a single mom who now has to carry on working for an old bugger.
Do you understand? You should be giving your mom money, not the other way around.
You know what though? There is something to going home strategically, because I remember at some point realizing, okay, the job that I'm in is kind of dead end. So I need to pull out and make like a dramatic decision of like what the next direction is. And I went home, like probably chilled there for like a couple of months. And I was like, okay, I need to go back to the thing, you know, but I needed to regroup. I needed a place to go to regroup, you know. And luckily my mother is a teacher, so she was able to take me in at that time. Would I be able to do the same thing now? Because every now and then we still have some financial difficulties. No, you know, so safety nets aren't always there.
Yeah.
At that time, I was lucky enough that it was there, you know. But
Thank you for sharing your personal story, bro. We appreciate it. And look, it is important to know when. Know when to be like, let me retreat. Let me get my energy back up. Let me calm down. And then few months back in the jungle.
You know, everybody says, you know, you were lucky to meet that person, or you were lucky to have that job interview, to have that opportunity. But, you know, you have to struggle through that process to get lucky, because you have to attempt multiple things before the one thing works.
Yeah.
And if you're hanging out with like-minded people that are negative, that just talk about problems, that just speak about how bad things are and are doing drugs and all these type of things, then, you know, I project, we spoke on on our show, I hung out with gangsters, and I played soccer, and I bunked school, and I understand that world. But at one stage, I said, okay, I'm hanging out with these homies. We 16, 17 years old. Okay. The 27 version also hangs out with us.
Sure.
Like, fuck, I'm not going to be that in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm out. Do you
So
understand?
it's an individual decision.
100%. And it's a decision made after looking at another 27-year-old.
Yeah.
Let me look at him. Yeah, he comes from the right background, schooling, all this other stuff. Okay, I can get 3% from him. This guy has a similar background to me. Let me speak to him for 5 minutes. And here's another thing that I've learned that someone taught me. It's very, 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 very valuable. 30% of your time should be spent with people on your level. So people in a similar career, similar sort of income, because me and you are processing in real time, real problems that we are both going through now. So I've got a hiring problem. How do you deal with HR? This is the process. How do you deal with a lawsuit? This is my lawyer. He's good in this area. This lawyer is good in this area. Okay. 30% of your time should be spent with people below you. So meaning below your income level, because you can give them tips that got you here. And only then, will the universe, God, whoever you believe in, allow you the opportunity to spend 30% time with someone that's above you.
Yeah.
And that's how we grow. That's how we grow.
10% with yourself in the toilet. Doing the maths, 30, 60, 90. 10% on Facebook and social media.
Yeah. But spending time with people below you and on your level will open up an opportunity, especially if you're coming in to serve. I came here this morning, share my story, and hopefully somebody that's not an immigrant or is an immigrant says, okay, if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, I can also have a good result. Let me try it. Or is Bobby talking BS? I've got moral authority in a certain line of business. It's out there. We have done it as a team. But, if I try it, maybe I can also do it.
White people are immigrants. Black people are foreigners. I'm not happy with the answer you gave me earlier.
So let me try again. May I?
Oh, no. So I asked you spoke about being the best. So when you're operating on another level, there are individuals I normally quote: Beyonce Knowles, LeBron James. When we speak about a healthy competition, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi at some point need to make speeches thanking each other. That if you were not alive during my lifetime, I would have never reached the whatever level I reached. I asked you, what is the goal for Mid-Mac? You gave me some answer about happiness and whatever you said. So you don't have to answer it again, but I'd like to know how Mid-Mac is doing, how it was built, how well it's doing now, how big it's going to get. I mean, you're telling me there are people selling 20 cars a month, which is ridiculous. There are dealerships that can't sell 20 cars a month, and you're saying one salesperson can sell 20 cars.
Yeah.
How did you guys get built? Where are you at now? What are you actually aiming for as a business?
Yeah. Outside
of weird things like happiness that I don't know about.
Okay, so currently we are in a very, very, very strong storm, with the rest of the economy. So January 2022 versus January 2023, interest rate went up 9 times. Okay, average homeowner, the average house sold in South Africa is 1.1 million rand. Okay, it's 9,700 rand installment per month. Okay, it's almost 13 today. So
almost 13
in 12 months. In 12 months. Okay, so an average car payment increased 600 rand. Cost of living increased 33%. So if you take the food a family of 4 needs to survive, it's 33% more expensive. That's where we are today. 50 basis points last week, depending on when the show will air.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the storm. It's almost a perfect storm because America is just printing money. Inflation is going up. How do you deal with inflation? Rate hikes. probably going to go up another 50 basis points. So my attitude towards the business right now is getting everybody in our company leveled up. Because what happens when people have less money to spend? They buy less. When they buy less, cost of living is high. Everything that we do needs to be hyper-focused. Hyper-focused. You know, Vince off camera, who's head of marketing, every 1,000 rand that he spends needs to act like 100,000 rand.
Yeah.
You know, if so, the expectation from me as a leader is a lot higher from everybody.
Yeah.
That creates a little bit more pressure. So those that can handle it will ride the storm with me. So my plans of growth are on pause at the moment for the next 12 months. We've got 5 dealerships. I'm not going to open another one for the next 12 months. Okay. So am I going to open more? Hell yes. I want a mid-mac in every town. Absolutely. But there's a time to attack, and there's a very small time to defend. And this is the time to defend for me and for the team. Okay, we are busy building a media house. I love content. I want to be amongst people like the people in this room. Like my natural environment is this. I can just hang out here off camera with you like for the entire month. So we're busy building a media house. We want to do cool stuff. There's a couple of shows that we've started with that are growing in momentum.
Your channel is doing amazingly well. How many subscribers do you have now?
Just under 100,000.
Jeez.
We're about to hit
Congrats.
100. Thank you, sir.
You guys are going to become super celebrities, and we're going to be begging you for autograph.
No.
Bob, it's me from the Penuel show. Don't you remember?
No. So me and Vince are very excited about the media house. We're waiting for our beautiful city of Tshwane to give us final approvals, please. So we want to build a big structure and pay rates and taxes. So, that's
unlike other people in Tshwane.
Yeah, we want to pay rates and taxes. So approve the plan so we can pay you more rates and taxes. High quality branded content, for us, and then hopefully for other industries very, very soon.
Are you comfortable? Okay, number one, how old is your business? And number two, are you comfortable to speak on how many vehicles you move a month?
Yeah, 100%. Our business is 15 years old.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I think most businesses, decent businesses, don't make it past 5, 10. And I saw, I don't know if it was Wall Street or Harvard, saying the average, I don't know if it's Fortune 500, doesn't go past 50 years. Or listed company doesn't make it past 50 years. So the fact that you're at 15
it's a good
is already
start.
Impressive,
Yeah, it feels like 5 seconds. It literally went by very quickly. Yeah. And we're doing around 300 cars a month collectively throughout the dealerships. Yeah. And we have done just under 400 as well, but I took a different approach. So we did a little bit of wholesaling as well.
Yeah.
B2B rather than B2C.
Yeah.
But B2B is not an environment where I like to operate.
Sure.
I want to serve individual customers. I know how to do that.
Very good with people.
I know how to do that. B2C is just, it's a little bit of an uphill for me. So
B2B.
Yeah. Went down on our units, but focus on individual families.
One of the things I enjoyed about our sit down, and one of the things that inspired me, is I'm trying to find South Africans who are passionate about building this country, fixing this country, obviously getting rid of our corrupt leadership currently. And you have a desire to educate and upskill. You mentioned the media, but I know we spoke as well, and I'd like you to please speak again about your desire to upskill and educate people so that they can just learn practical skills.
So here's where hopefully I'm not going to be too controversial and offend people, but my belief is that the government can do nothing for me, just like it can do nothing for you, and just like it can do nothing for most of the people we're going to meet and interact with today.
Yeah.
The only way to improve is through your own sweat off your brow. How do you practically do that? Because we can sit and motivate people here all day, and eventually they have to go out the room and do something, and that's where educating people correctly can earn an income. So how do you practically do that? We get youngsters in, say, this is the motor industry. This is what it's done for me, selling you a dream. This is what it could do for you, but this is what it takes. Okay.
Yeah.
Half of them follow and give you the hard truth, which is, I'm going to expect you to be at 6:30, 6:40. Okay. You're going to work until 7 o'clock tonight for a very long time, until you're half decent to become a C player, where you will work with a killer that will drive you even harder because now he'll micromanage you. And if you're prepared to go through that pain, you will learn practical skills that you can deploy, whether it's here or, it doesn't matter where it is, but you can deploy them. And to see a person come to me. So here's my why. You asked me, money is not important. Money is very important. Money gives you options, it gives you choices, and it puts a scoreboard, because the better we become, the bigger media house we can build, the bigger everything. Sure. But here's a massive win for me. A young man comes up to me and says, listen, he said to me, he needs to speak to his wife. His car's in the wash bay. First pump. Right. I'm getting goosebumps even saying that. He said to me, he needs to speak to his wife. There's his car in the wash bay. Boom, gone. I know that young man, built enough value in himself, in our brand, in the vehicle that the customer was, potentially interested in. And he served that customer to the point where that customer said yes. Okay. That nobody will ever take away from him. Ever. And he can go to America, he can go to any environment. He'll be able to use that skill and make money.
When are you going back to Bulgaria?
Sure. My parents are currently there. It's summer.
Did they move back
on
holiday?
Just on holiday. Okay. Yeah, it's currently summer. I'll probably try and go. So there's a tradition. I'm going to try and go. I think it's the 6th of January, where the priest of the village. So here's a nice story that I'm gonna share. The priest of the village has the cross, and it's normally villages are built next to rivers.
Okay.
And on the 6th of January, it's anything between -8 and -19. Okay, so the river towards the banks is frozen, and he says a prayer, and all the men of the village. So the women are outside, men only. All the men are in the river. They do a traditional dance. Inside the river.
Frozen water.
Well, the sides are frozen. The river still floats, but up to your waist. Okay, so they do a traditional dance with drums and all sorts of things. And then, the priest throws the cross in the river. And then the men go and dive the cross out, and they do it for health. So 6th of January, promise my cousins I'm going to be there.
Jeez. I'd like you to speak about Europe and Bulgaria. And Bulgaria is in the east.
Yes, Eastern Bloc. Yes, Black Sea borders with Greece.
I'd like you to speak about this. I know we've spoken about it, but I know it's important to keep rehashing the similarities between Eastern Europe and Africa for you in terms of mindset, poverty, and why Bulgaria is not Switzerland, and why you're not here with all your cousins and other people from Bulgaria building car dealerships around the country.
Very good question. I appreciate it. And I'll answer through a family experience. 2 years ago, I'm sitting with 3 of my cousins in a coffee shop having coffee. And I remember these kids, now they're grown men and women and boyfriends and girlfriends and all this other stuff. So I'm having fun with them, chatting. And all of a sudden, a conversation breaks out about a cousin that's not in the room. And a little bit of bad mouthing happens. I said, okay, let me just lend my ear to this. He's not okay because of 1, 2, 3. He works so long and this and that and the third thing. And he thinks he's very cool because he's got 2 cars and he thinks this and that. I said to him, but he's a truck driver. Yes. So he drives a truck, travels through Europe, picks up loads, drops off loads. He's young. He's married. He's got a small child. He works 15, 16 hours a day.
Jeez.
Okay. He's not in the room. Do you have 2 cars? No, I don't even have 1 car. I said, okay, how long do you work? Oh, I'm still in. I hope I answered your question.
There's poverty in Eastern Europe.
Big time. There's poverty all over the world. I went to America last year in April. The poverty that I saw in America, I've never seen in South Africa. Never.
It was worse.
Never. I'm talking about driving, and both on the left and on the right hand side. It's just tents next to the road. Thousands of people, homeless people, thousands of homeless people, just on both sides of the road. Where do they go to the toilet? What do you understand what I'm saying? Thousands of people in America.
We're speaking a lot about the mindset of the individual and success. Do you believe you can institutionalize or create institutions? Almost like to get to Mid-Mac and to meet you and to go through the sessions and to get the psychology and requires you to take a step like Okomoto. But do you think you can create a country where the institutions, the educational institutions, plant the seed in as many children or the most children to be like, from a young age, we all knew as guys, we need to build great bodies. From a young age as ladies, we were raised to be like, we need to solve problems. Do you think you can institutionalize it, or will it always be like an individual thing?
I don't think you can, honestly. And I know that sounds negative.
Yeah.
But, there's a nice saying, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make the horse drink. Now, take siblings. Take siblings of a wealthy family.
Yes.
One becomes phenomenal, takes over the business, just grows the business, and one ends up being a fuck up.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I think there's something that you have within you. I don't know if at a very young age you can bend that tree, but I don't think you can institutionalize that. It's parenting. It's values and principles that your parents need to give you. So I think it's more on the parent, unfortunately, than it is on the university or school or whatever you want to call it. It's parenting rather than outside influence.
The power of traveling and what you've picked up from immigrants, both black, white, Indian, whatever, foreigners, when you travel. How important do you think traveling is for the young, ambitious boy, girl? And what have you picked up from foreigners, all types of foreigners here, and foreigners when you meet them in different countries? Not the locals, when you travel, the foreigners in those countries?
Very. They are all interested, very interested. So tell me about the countries you visited. What did you learn? What are the good, bad, and ugly? And Vince is also very well traveled. He's every time I go to a new place, the first question he asks me is going to smile. I want to look at him. Would you live there? They're smiling. The first thing that he asks me is, would you live there?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, right there where I went and spent time, Fort Lauderdale, man, I would live there tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, we've got work to do. Those houses are on the water and the yachts and all this other stuff. So I would live there tomorrow. But immigrants in other countries and well-traveled people are all interested. Tell me. It's like a sponge. Tell me. Asking good quality questions. Not, how's the nightlife? Is there pretty chicks? There's pretty chicks everywhere. There's pretty chicks everywhere. I was telling my team yesterday. So we're doing training and I say to them, right, South Beach, Miami. So I'm very excited. I say, you never ever go there without a wife or without a friend that's got a leash on you.
Sure.
So why? I said, well, it's like 4 kilometers and it's all these Latina girls. They look like J-Lo, just non-stop. And it's these
Where's
Lambos.
The area? Please send me the location on the phone.
I've got
After
a
this, please send me location on the phone.
South
Beach, Miami. 4 kilometers of
my friend of just madness.
J-Lo Latinos.
Just madness. And hi, we've got very nice, and you just want to stop and have a drink everywhere. Okay, now, what did I take out of that? It's fake. It's fake, because is that really a place where you can go and build a life? I don't think so, unless you own a restaurant.
Sure.
unless you can compete in that highly competitive environment. Will I live there? No, because it's not me. But meeting people, America's a strange place, man. I hardly met Americans, especially in that area. There's no Americans. That's people from Argentina, a lot of South Americans that immigrated up and for a better life. All of them are well traveled. They do well. They can maintain a household. Very interested, lots of stories to tell, and friendly.
Yeah,
extremely friendly. Well traveled people are friendly because they've been in an environment with this type of culture and this type of culture. So they'll listen more than they
have
speak.
a sensitivity to human beings.
Yes.
And they're probably trying to achieve something and they know how to.
Yes.
I want to tell a story you told me without implicating anyone. I'd like to give you something, if you don't mind, after that. And then I've got one more question for you.
Perfect.
The story got me so excited, man. At some point in my life, I was very ambitious.
Wow, man, that ambition has grown. Trust me, you are still very ambitious.
I'm not.
You are.
So
let's agree to disagree.
I've never cared about money. I'm not sure if it's my upbringing. I'm not sure if it's the people I look up to. Because when I speak, I mentioned LeBron James and Beyonce, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. When I speak about them, it's not like, yo, do you know how many cars I look at the process, the work ethic, what they're achieving, and the fact that I think all four people I've mentioned at some point in their lives wanted to achieve: music, basketball, football, soccer. And at some point they got to a level and they were like, I think I can become the best in the world. And all four of them became the best in the world.
Agreed.
And they still had capacity. It was like, we could actually become the best of all time.
Yes.
And transcend time.
Yes.
Nationality, country.
Become the GOAT.
And become the GOATs. That type of stuff gives me goosebumps. Like, what is that thing? The money will come, hopefully, if you are a good manager and you price yourself well. But you're living in purpose. Where it's like, oh, you're a billionaire. You're like, oh, really? That guys like Elon and them are trying to solve like humongous problems because that gets their dicks hard, At some point in my life, I was like, I want to get to certain things and do certain things. And because most human beings have been conditioned that money is the be all and end all. If I need people to do things, if I want to be Beyonce, the guys coming to do my stage, the guys doing the costume, they all want to be paid, which is lame. I'm like, guys, this is bigger than the money, but they want to be paid. So I need to make the money. And at age, I'm not sure, maybe I was 23, I'm not sure. But I set a goal for myself. By age 50, I wanted to be worth 100 million. It changed later on to I want to take home $500,000 a month. That was my goal. I was ambitious. And in my ambition, I used to read the Forbes list, the Bloomberg list. I'd read the stories of the billionaires. I went out and I met entrepreneurs because I wanted to feed off. And I wanted to ask the questions that people don't ask. The business stuff we can read, there's a profile, but I want to know, like, what food do you fucking eat? Do you slap your kids in the morning? I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's the important stuff.
It's the important stuff. I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger saying his dad wouldn't let them eat breakfast until they did a certain number of push-ups and squats and whatever, which is something I've kind of done with my kids. Not like that, but it's like every time I'm with my kids, push-ups, squats, calf raises. Constantly be building your body.
Yes.
If you can't build anything else, fucking have a decent body.
Yes.
When you told me the story that you told me, like it took me back to that. And I felt this fire because generally men will understand this because the story was a bit inappropriate, but these are the stories. There's a guy that's working for you, young, obviously trying to make it. And he comes to work with a young, pretty lady. And he's like, oh, this is my girlfriend. I want to marry her. And you're like, oof, very pretty. Apparently she works in a high profession.
Yes.
Very competitive, very rich people, etc. And you're like, she's very pretty. Everyone in the office, all the guys are turning around. Oh my, who is this? It's like, what's with the young guy? And you meet the lady, greet her, she leaves, and you pull this guy to the side. Bobby, KGB, spy. And you're like, you really love that girl. Like, I think she's the one. I want to marry her. I want to build a family with her. And you're like, in the space that she's in, you realize she's probably earning 4 or 5 times what you make here. And I can tell you now that in the next 3 to 5 years, if you don't fucking move up the ranks and sell your fucking ass off and out-earn her, she will leave you for a guy that's making money at her level, because she's then that type of space. You saw what happened when she came in here. All the guys were looking at her saying, I want that girl. And you said within a year, the guy was like, fuck this. And he was earning more than her.
Absolutely.
You can imagine for a guy like me hearing you tell a story like that, what it does to me. And I just want to say thank you for that story. I don't know if it made the final edit. I haven't watched if it made the final edit of our sit down, but I want to say thank you for that story, because especially for a lot of young men today, not enough people there are a lot of guys, the cars, the girls, not a lot of people are speaking about the process. That, bro, if you really want these things, Andrew Tate, whatever, you have to fucking go to the gym and you need to build a rock solid body. When you rock up, other guys must want to put their shirts on.
Yes.
When you rock up, every girl must be like, hi. And you're like, sorry, I'm actually here for training.
Yes.
I'm actually here to deliver something. And you must be so successful and so focused that you literally attract everyone. You become the center of the universe. Not enough guys are being told that. And when you are like that and you meet like-minded guys like that, you're just like, oh, you're one of me. You're a fucking lion.
Appreciate you, man. That's the best compliment I've ever received. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. I have a gift for you, and then I've got a question.
Cool.
Please.
So may I get my gift to you as well?
This guy. This is meant to be my time to shine.
We'll shine together.
I'm gonna give a disclaimer. So when we sat down, I told you that the most influential book in my life has been 1984 by George Orwell. I spoke to Vince off camera and he said he started reading it. He says it's pretty dope, which makes me very happy, even though I didn't write it. George Orwell, 1984. I owe you the book. I need to apologize. This is not the book.
No problem.
So I went to my bookshelf. I just pulled this book. I haven't read it. And I don't even know if it's a good book. But I need to give you something, at the very least. So I don't have like a nice story to say about this book, and
okay.
I don't even think I'm going to mention the book on camera because I don't know it. But I've got a book for you.
Okay.
But I owe you 1984.
Cool.
I'm gonna actually come deliver it at your office.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna make that pledge. But I needed to give you something, and I wanna thank you. We can do the exchange, and then my last question is actually on a book.
Okay.
So this is for you. I'm not gonna mention the book. I'm not gonna give this guy unnecessary. What?
Thank you.
I hope you'll enjoy it.
Whoa.
Don't mention it.
Wow. I can't wait.
I haven't read it. Sorry.
So disclaimer, this is my book. It's the book that I promised you that's helped me. It's the best book I've ever read. Ever read. Ever.
Let me ask my question before you hand over the book. You mentioned this trigger word for me. So we speak about stoicism, warrior. And we sat and we spoke about barbarians, bureaucrats. And that was going to be my last question, that what does that mean to you? Because that was also quite deep for me.
What does a barbarian mean and what does a bureaucrat mean?
Sure. And the process, and maybe speak about the book.
So the barbarian mentality is, you know, the what's considered today toxic masculinity. the fact that, you know, it's okay for me to say, I want to beat my competitor. I want to beat him because there needs to be a winner. Now, how you judge winning, you know, is an open-ended question, because he can say, well, I come at 9 and I leave at 4, so my work-life balance is better than yours and I spend more time with, and in that area, if that's important to him, then he won.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I want to hit more numbers. So as small as it is, for me, that's a win. How I do it, you know, I have to figure that out. So being a barbarian is being authentic, it's being fearless, and it's being unapologetic when it comes to your business. You know, going for it. Now, the problem with only being a barbarian is, you know, you're just going to constantly fight battles and fight wars, and you'll never, ever build a business. So, you know, the book mentions some amazing Alexander the Great, and they never built very big countries. They took over everything, and they conquered. The bureaucrat is the opposite of what a barbarian is. So the bureaucrat normally is a second or a third generation person that's been brought up with the right surname, right schools, right education, right friendship circles. So they are in a protective state. So we're going to protect what we have. That's why normally bureaucrats lose it all. Generation 3, Generation 4, you mentioned it, 50 years later, it's gone. Okay, so this book teaches you about middle, right. So middle right means you're competitive, you are attacking the whole time, but in the process, you're surrounding yourself with people that systemize your business. Yeah. Now, for the longest time, my business was flat. Our company effectively grew in the last 3.5 years. We went from, thank you. So for 10, 11, 12 years, for about 11.5 years, we were doing our 60 cars, nothing crazy, had a nice life, drove a nice car every now and then. It was where we started really picking up momentum was by me surrounding myself with other barbarians, because 2 or 3 or 4, 6 barbarians together, we can, now we can do damage.
Now you're Spartans, boy.
Because, I can teach sales. You can do marketing. The third person can effectively do buying.
Yeah.
The fourth person is a recon person. Shit, I don't need to touch any of these areas. I just teach sales and push salespeople. But once you start adding the systems behind the barbarians, then, we invest in technology for the buying team. Now we've got phenomenal, we're buying cars on apps. I'm checking fraud and cloned vehicles on apps where, we pioneered most of that technology. That's on the buying side. Finance and insurance, we are constantly going to the banks and saying, improve here. This is what we want. This is functionality that's necessary. This will save your RCO. That builds a big business or big country or big whatever it is that you're trying to achieve.
Getting people like yourself and then bringing the spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet warriors. Connoisseurs. So I want to gift you the book. I wrote you a message.
Bobby, thank you so much.
My spelling is not great. I can sell well. I can't spell well. That's why I have an iPhone. You're an
immigrant from Bulgaria. I won't blame you. Bobby, Borislav Petkov.
Yes, sir.
Borislav Petkov.
Yes, you're the first person that could actually pronounce my name, off the bat. Well done.
Bobby, thank you so much for coming through. It's our second sit down. It feels like it's our 20th. I identify with your personality, your spirit. I look forward in continuing to build this relationship. I absolutely love your team. I want to thank Vince who came through today. I want to thank Carmen who organized. I want to thank everyone that I've met, man, at MidMac. I don't know if you guys are pulling like a South Beach, Miami, smile when Penn is around and then go back to being losers when he's gone. But
hope not.
I hope not. Really humble, amazing professional people. And I wish you success. 300 cars, I'm going to do the maths so I can calculate how much money you guys make so that you can be our blessers here at the Penuel Show.
So calculate this. We employ 200 families. Rather calculate that, yeah. And we take care of 200 families.
Congratulations to you and the team at MidMac. And I look forward to sitting down with you again, whether here or on your platform.
Really appreciate you. I had lots of fun. Thanks,
Bobby.